Headphones on, the whispers begin.
When my daughter turned 4, we were sitting at the kitchen table, a modest cake between us, pink frosting melting slightly in the late afternoon sun. My husband and I were telling her the story of her birth, how 4 years ago to the day, we were in the hospital, barely adults ourselves, getting ready to bring her into the world. It was supposed to be a warm, sentimental moment. "I know, Mommy," she said, looking up at me with a seriousness no 4-year-old should have. "I remember, I was with a man, and I had wings. They were really big, like fairy wings. I was flying with him, and then I sat with him. He told me I was going to be okay, and then I was born." The room felt cold. My husband laughed awkwardly, but I couldn't. I remembered everything, how she hadn't cried when she came out, how the nurse's voice cracked when she called a code, how I heard nothing but static while lying on that blood-soaked table. My body was torn apart bringing her into the world, and she had no heartbeat. For over 5 minutes, she had no heartbeat. "She must have overheard someone," my husband offered later that night. "No one's ever told her. She can't even grasp the concept of death. But maybe she's just imagining. You know how kids are." I nodded, but inside, something had shifted. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stayed up watching her in the baby monitor, listening to her breathe, occasionally twitch, murmur nonsense in her sleep. I wanted to believe it was nothing, but she kept talking about the man, not every day, and never when prompted. Always casually, in the car, during dinner, coloring on the floor. The man said I'd come back soon, or he didn't like the hospital. And once, terrifyingly, he said next time I can keep my wings. It gnawed at me. The logical part of me, desperate for explanation, started digging. I asked my mom if she'd told my daughter about heaven or angels. She swore she hadn't. My husband's family was even less spiritual than mine. No TV shows or books. I started keeping a log, trying to spot a pattern. Maybe a story she was copying, something she'd misunderstood. But there was nothing. No pattern. No influence. Then things got stranger. One morning I found her sitting upright in bed, eyes open but unseeing. When I called her name, she didn't respond, just stared ahead, pale and still. I touched her shoulder. She blinked and looked at me. "I was waiting," she said softly, and laid back down. She started waking up with bruises, small ones, a shoulder, her ribs, one under her chin. I asked if she fell, if she was hurt. She shook her head. "He hugs too tight," she said once, voice flat, eyes on the wall behind me. We put a camera in her room. I didn't tell my husband. I needed to know for myself first. The footage was normal for days, restless sleep, some mumbling. One night she sat up around 2 a.m. and just stared at the corner of her room for over 30 minutes. She didn't move, didn't blink. And then came the night of the scream. It wasn't loud, it was short and choked. I ran into her room, heart racing. She was curled up, sobbing, whispering, "I don't want to go again." I held her, rocked her, whispered that she was safe. When I reviewed the footage the next morning, my stomach turned. She sat up at 1:58 a.m., looked directly at the camera, and whispered, "Now." Then she screamed. I decided to take her to a child psychologist. She was too young, too innocent to carry this. The psychologist dismissed it as imagination, trauma from birth, perhaps. Maybe our tension as parents fed into her anxiety. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. Until the night I found the drawing. It was tucked under her mattress, crayon on paper, a man with no face, just a white oval where features should have been. Behind him, a pair of huge black wings. Beside him, a smaller figure with wings too, until you looked closely and saw they'd been crossed out violently. The caption, scrawled in crooked child handwriting, read, "He said this time he won't give them back." That was 2 nights ago. Last night she disappeared. Her window was open. No sign of struggle. No footprints. Nothing. The police are still searching. Everyone keeps saying, someone must have taken her. But I don't think that's what happened. I think someone came to take her back.